If I'm being completely honest, I had zero intention of releasing an album this year. Back in 2024, when I released a bunch of singles, I had also written Mutual Blunder.
We say no damage done, we know that ain't true. Straight through and salvage the ones that left me. Now take all the scars if I just knew how to live.
That originally for me was one that was going to live on its own in the same way that the other songs did that year. I had every intention of making it a late fall, winter release, but by the time that rolled around, I had written other things that just felt like they all kind of fit together. I think after Mutual Blunder, I wrote Michigan Avenue.
I wasn't the person that could give you what you needed.
And Born to Dream. And What's the Meaning of Life?
I know it's all in God's plan.
And I don't think even after those that I knew that that was going to be an album. Some of them didn't feel as strong singles as others, but I knew there was something in common with the songs that I was writing at the time. I've always been an artist that's very pro album and pro project, and I think that that's kind of where your artistry is really defined and where it really gets to make its impact is with an album. And I knew that I was going to make another one sooner rather than later, but I wasn't anticipating it to be the entirety of my 2025 releases. And while I think that the album name, Confessions, Dreams, and Unresolved Feelings, very much summarizes the entire project, I think that this project represents something even bigger for me. I think that this album is very much representative of this chapter, not only of my artistry, but of my life. Growing Pains was very immediate post college, entering the real world, figuring it out, and realizing some things and learning some things along the way. I'm not going to say that this is like a sister album or like a follow up. I think this album is very much a refined continuation of everything that Growing Pains was. Growing Pains was a first step for me in figuring out what artistry meant to me and what I wanted my songs to reflect, what I wanted my songs to sound like, just kind of very much similar to the contents of those songs, but exploring the aspect of life that I was in and the aspect of my artistry that I was in. And then I had some fun and wrote some songs that kind of tapped into different one-off parts of me in 2024, and I very much enjoy all of those songs and think that they live on their own, very much in their own individual and impactful way. But I don't think there's been a year of music that has been as representative to me as 2025 has with this album. Confessions, Dreams, and Unresolved Feelings is my step in solidifying this is who I am as an artist. These are the things that I want to say, and these are how I want to, these are the ways that I want to say them. And while the expectation would be that with every song you release and every project you put forth, there is a result of growth and development and refinement in who you are as an artist, how you perform, the things that you do, your skill sets, all of those things. But I honestly think that this project went even a step further for me in that world. I did a lot of things in the production recording phase that I have never really dabbled with before. One thing that very much stayed the same was my struggle with being able to play the guitar as soon as there's a microphone in front of me.
Sorry.
Peachtree specifically is a very good example of that. I also think that the piano aspect of what I did with this album was a lot more like the way that I want it to be moving forward, specifically with Mutual Blunder. And if you know me, you know I love Adele. And so Michigan Avenue being this true pop ballad in the way that it is all the more special. But but nothing was more of a challenge than performing this album vocally.
I was born to dream purpose. There's still something waiting for me. I wish I could forgive. I wish you cared enough to know me.
Anytime I introduce myself as an artist, I say I'm a singer last, and not because it's something that I don't think that I'm good at. It's just the thing that I ended up really doing last. And as a result of writing music, playing music, I like to think of myself very much as like a starting from ground zero artist. But this was a challenge for me in the way that I was doing harmonies, adding different background vocals.
I was born. I was born. I was born.
Doing all of these things with my voice to take the song to the next level that I previously hadn't really done in many of my songs. I've never been one to think of harmonies off the top of my head or come up with ad lib vocals and do all these different things that really any song you hear has. I've always been a musician before I've been a singer, and so instead of filling that space with other voices, I would always just opt to fill it with more guitar, more piano, put drums in there, strings. So being able to step into the zone of having to put these background vocals in, add these harmonies, it was really cool. I also don't think that I've ever pushed my vocal limit the way that I did with some of these songs.
I could never be little girl. I'll just keep on climbing.
I'm very much a culprit of during the recording process to do takes over and over and over again because I don't feel satisfied with the one that came before it. And I think this is the first project that I have put together that vocally I feel like it matches with everything else. Like myself as a singer, I'm finally getting to the point where that's not the weak link that's weighing down the rest of my songs. Knowing that this is something that I've wanted to do for many years, and it's something that I'm finally in a position where I actually feel like I'm somewhat good at it, feels really special, which I think is an added layer to why this project means so much to me. And singing for me was always something that I thought I did okay enough, and the things that I was doing were enough for what they needed to be. But once I've actually reached a point where I know I'm singing in tune, I know that I'm hitting the notes I need to, it's a sign that okay, what I thought was okay enough really wasn't, but we've now made it to where good enough really is good enough. And I think a part of me always knew that this project was going to be special because there were a lot of songs that didn't make the cut. In fact, both Tell the Dog,
Make sure you tell the dogs I'll miss them too.
and Fading Slowly
Fading slowly.
were not on this album until right before recording. In fact, the songs that are bonus tracks on the deluxe album were on the original cut when I first was mapping it out. And I think that everything happened for a reason. I think that the songs that fell into the album and fell out were meant to fall in and fall out. And I think that there were things that I was trying to be over intentional about saying with the album that just weren't as on brand for me in this current phase of things as I wanted them to be. And while I feel like this album is a second coming of Growing Pains, a 2.0, if you will, I think that Growing Pains was like learning things that I didn't know, whereas this album is accepting the things that I previously refused to and being willing to take steps and do the things that a previous version of me wouldn't. I wrote this album entirely living in North Carolina, whereas Growing Pains was the last thing I put together when I was still living in the Midwest. And I think that shows for me personally in the album because going to North Carolina was a step out of my comfort zone, a step out of familiarity, and a step into opportunity when it came to music. Moving away from everyone and everything that you know kind of creates a lot of space for reflection and acknowledgement of the impact that you have on the lives of the people that you are no longer down the street from. I always think that every project an artist puts out is representative of one specific thing. And obviously, every song has its message. And I think there's always one overarching message or statement that that artist is trying to make. And I think on a personal note, this is me claiming my artistry as artistry. I previously thought that I took myself seriously, but I think that I was living in this fog of because I'm doing it, that's me taking myself seriously. But this album is me being willing to put the extra time in, put the extra effort in, and make sure that everything that I embody with this project is exactly what I want it to be. I'm not going to say that I was carefree previously, but I think that this album, more than anything, is my best foot forward. And I think from a listener perspective, the impact that I would love for this album to have is that all answers come in good time, all reflections are important, and there's nothing that matters more in life than the relationships that you have, whether that be with a significant other, family, friends, but also yourself. I think taking the opportunity to put your best foot forward for yourself and for others is a huge piece of the puzzle, and it's a very important aspect of life. We're all looking for connection, we're all looking to be seen, be heard, and I think that also comes with hearing and seeing yourself. Because the more you understand who you are and who you want to be, and then how you get there, the more that you can impact the lives of those around you in a way that's worth pursuing. Creating this album over the last year has been very special to me. And more than anything, I feel like it's been extremely worth it. I think I found the sound that I want for myself. I think I found the artistry that I want for myself. And I think this is me taking the first step in the right direction for what I always wanted the Ava Rose project to be. Making Confessions, Dreams, and Unresolved Feelings was significantly impactful, and I am very proud of it in every facet. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity to have put it out in an additional time with 3 extra songs. Mystery actually originally came out in 2020, but it was back in the era of I don't sing on my own songs, and it felt important for me to bring it back, do my version of it, because it's a song that, even though it's now 6 years old, it's something that I still stand by and I think is evergreen in terms of its truth. So, with that being said, I think that this project is everything that I wanted it to be in terms of a reflection of myself. And I hope that for the listeners out there, that it is everything that they wanted from me at this stage. I don't necessarily know what's next. Like I said, I didn't even plan on making this album originally, but whatever is next for me, I'm very excited to share and hopefully get to do more things like this and share it with you all. So, thank you.